Diana Gasperoni is the founder of Be.WELL, Psychotherapy and Wellbeing, host of the BeREAL Podcast, and creator of BeHER Teen Program. Diana's mission is to provide a full spectrum of mental health wellness to as many souls as possible through direct service and content. She believes in an integrative approach to mental health and well-being. Her first experience with both yoga and psychotherapy laid the foundation for her cutting-edge approach to mental health. Diana walked into her first therapy session and her first yoga class in the same week many years ago. This combination of modalities live in her mind and body as she swears by the combination. This was also the jumpstart to a long-term career and mission to provide safe spaces for deep introspection for all people. Diana's greatest passion is supporting humans through painful transitions that may have caused them to become stuck. Through their work together, Diana's clients create a space for understanding their ever-shifting identities and moving the past out of the mind and body, allowing room for growth and freedom. Both a long-term patient and student of modern psychoanalysis, Diana learned in her early 20s that understanding behaviors, thoughts, and feelings is a lifelong process. Her approach with each patient is to help them to understand what they want from their lives, understand how they want to live, and see a clear way to get there. Hi, I'm Casey, and right here beside me is Kelsey. We are licensed professional counselors, mothers, entrepreneurs, and besties. We know firsthand what it's like to wake up one day and think, how in the heck did I wind up here?
Through our own journeys of self-discovery, we found that joy is something that has to be pursued through internal work. Now we are on a mission to help women from all walks of life understand themselves more so they can have real lasting joy.
Join us every Thursday to hear fun and insightful interviews with experts who can point you toward self-discovery and fulfillment. Here's my thing. Have you ever read the book Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy?
Think I have.
So it's a book that I've been reading for like 10 years. Okay. I still haven't finished it. So it's big. It's like super big, thick book. But there is a psychoanalyst in the book in New York City who every time I read or I see you, either one, if I read or if I see you or talk to you, that's what I think. I just imagine you like sitting back, smoking a cigarette, just analyzing the snot out of people.
That's so funny. No longer a smoker, so
Okay.
There's no smoking in the office.
Okay.
And 2024.
Yeah, I mean, this book was written like in the 70s or the 80s or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just telling Kelsey that what I'm reading is for my analytic program that I think I'm going to graduate from, maybe.
I just think it's interesting how, I don't know if it's societal or what category it would fall under, but just psychoanalysts, like just that in general, where you're from is so normal.
So normal.
Yeah. Here it is not.
No. I actually wondered when I was there, when I was in Kentucky for the conference, if I think the only analyst.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I've worked with a couple, but normally I would just remember who they are, but I don't.
Well, I think it goes back to when we met and I was like, so you just have the same clients all the time and like forever and ever and ever? Because yes. for our culture, I mean, that it should be more normalized. I think we should normalize going to therapy and just having a therapist that you go to weekly or however often you need. But here it's like,
well, how long is this going to take?
How long is this going to take? When are you going to fix me?
How long is it take? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the mindset, it has to be a part of the mindset being so different. And also just, if you grow up with a parent who it's just normal to go to therapy every week, then that's going to kind of be normal for you as well.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things, obviously we have more than just analysts in the city, but we do like in the analytic culture where, I remember the first time somebody asked me about termination and I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
In our analytic circles, like we stay forever in our own. And I think it does have to do with your own relationship with your analyst, right? Like I have been in analysis for 30 years. So it doesn't make sense to me not to be with that person who knows me and knows my history. I don't like if I went to somebody new, I'd have to start all over again. They really are holding on to the ways and how you have moved through the world. And you are part, like when you're in relationship with like a patient in that way, you guys are tandemly going through life. I know like one of my analysts is getting ready to retire. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But it's nice for me to know that like one, he's almost 90. So it's okay.
Before we got on here and you said, I probably will die in my chair. You
What?
really meant it.
No, I wasn't joking, but I want to be able to like retire and live, right? But like he's like vibrant and young. He's probably like the youngest 88-year-old you've ever seen. Like he's like full of life. And he's like, I don't want to be that person who's very sick. But one of the things he always used to say to me is that we'll always be together. Like, what does that mean? We'll always be together. But now it's like he's part of how I think. Yeah. Right. Like, even if they are my own thoughts and they're my own, like, he helped me figure out that language. Right. Like, he was part of that maturation process. And so, in tandem with that, I have patients that I've had for, 20 years. Yeah. And so I've just helped them with their thoughts. Right. And like move through different parts of their life. It's so amazing to be with somebody from like their early 20s or mid 20s to their 40s. I mean, think about all the things that happened to you then, right? And like all the different parts of it. We met boys, we met girls, we had children, we bought houses. Like, I'm like, I was part of that. And, you know, I told you guys this, we're analysts, we're very cocky. Sometimes we take the full credit for your everything you've done nothing in your life without us. However, even though we know that's not true, it's an honor to walk through somebody's life like that, for one, right? And two, like, why would it end? Yeah. Right? Like, why?
I haven't been a therapist very long, but I have several that have transitioned from middle school to high school and are about to graduate.
I'm going to get you over to the dark side. I'm going to get you in an online analytic program so that you, the first analyst down there.
That would be fun.
That would be cool.
I would love to see an analyst. I need to look and see if there are any in Kentucky.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It's really, I mean, even just the whole act of lying down.
So you literally lie down on a couch.
Girl, I didn't show you my couch for no reason.
Well, everyone has a couch in their office, but like people actually lay on it.
Know. Yes.
I've always talked about how I want that full experience. I want to lay down on a couch and just let loose.
Get wild.
Well, that is exactly what happens, right? So when you lie down on the couch, it's no longer social, right? Like, you know, the person's there, but then the transference is all like here. It's not like this, like you and I are like hanging out and having tea. The person behind you, they're there, but they're really just responding to your thoughts.
I never actually thought about it like that. And just the transference alone, I think is, because, you know, when you're laying down and the person is back here, you're only focused on your thoughts. You're not thinking about, how do I look right now? How am I coming across right now? Am I sitting up straight? Am I not? You know what I'm saying? It like takes away all of that.
The pressure.
Yeah.
And it takes about, I would say 10 minutes into the session for you to actually move away from entertaining your analyst. And then you see, as the analyst, you kind of see the shift.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, you're just talking now. This is great. I had, bless his heart, he's no longer with us, but one of my favorite patients ever for years and years and years. Like, you also like observe what the contact is when they come in. So after like the first 3 years of therapy at the analysis, he started wearing a t-shirt every Friday that said, I love redheads. And I was like, so do I. So we didn't put it into words, right? So we would lie down on the couch. And then you started to notice, it's almost like we do a lot of work with an observing ego. Like, we want to know, like, that's sort of what happens, is that we as analysts, we're helping you mature, but also that you have enough awareness for your own behaviors, right? And thoughts. So you're looking, and it was like, I was like, oh my God, maybe it's like almost 8 years in. I don't know. I have no sense of time. So it could have been 10. I don't know. Anyway, it was like you could see it as he was talking. I mean, not literally, figuratively. Like I was like, oh, he actually is reflecting back his own behaviors and he can see himself in the world in like this whole different, new, interesting way. And I was like, oh, we're out there in the world and we're killing it now. And he like the shift was so different. And I mean, he was a grown man when he started with me, but he was not. And then he was definitely like you watched him mature and have this observation and this awareness about himself that there's no way if he had been in like a 20 session conversation for 2 years that he would have ever gotten that much insight and self-awareness. And he was like committed to treatment. He was amazing. Anyway, we were together for a very long time.
I'm so mind blown.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a big thing around here. People are like, your job as the therapist is to work yourself out of a job as the therapist. And I've always felt very conflicted about that. They teach you that in grad school. And I'm like, but why? You know, I went to therapy. Yeah, I don't like that would be like me. Okay. I mean, I'm functioning human. I'm not having any major issues, but that would be like saying, okay, you can't go back to therapy, but why not? Like if it's going and it's like, if you're doing
if it's working, why stop? That's the other thing. Like if it's working, why don't you want to continue to grow? And there's always going to be an experience you haven't had. I trust my decision making. I'm pretty good at it, but it is really like there are some thoughts that like you never say out loud. You can say them to your analyst.
That's what I was just thinking. Is
like, you're like, you can say them to her. You can say all of them.
But that's the thing is we always have all these thoughts, but they don't go anywhere. That's why I like therapy. It's because like I have a place to say what I'm thinking. If I talked all the time to Casey, she'd kill me because I do.
She's an external processor, and I am not.
You are not. No. Analysis, you would be a great patient, Casey. You would be great because that is like when you don't externally process, right? Like there's all sorts of stuff that like, I mean, it's great for writers. It really challenges you and stimulates new thoughts all the time, which is all you ever really want to do so that you can keep living, right? Like I want to be the 88-year-old that's like, I think I'm going to retire now and travel the world because I've like worked really hard and I'm done. Like I want that. And the more you put your thoughts and feelings in towards you're younger, you feel better. There's like all sorts of stuff that happens.
Yeah, I think so too. I probably wouldn't kill you, but I would, like, it makes me tired. Like when her and her daughter both talk, like I came home last night and I was just thinking, there has not been a single moment since I've walked in the store without someone talking. And then for me, if it's just me and my kids at home, nobody's talking. Everybody's just like doing their own thing.
We're very external.
Oh, Lord.
Right. And so a place to like really just talk and not, I mean, there's a lot of free association in analysis, like, because we're not behavior focused and all of that. So like, I mean, you could just bring in your dreams and have a field day.
Oh yeah. I would light up. I like some dreams.
Yeah.
Dream analysis. Go for it.
Dream analysis is super fun. I've had patients who like start the session with dreams for like a year because you dream more.
Yeah.
Like
really?
you're in analysis and you're lying down on the couch there. It's symbolic. Some patients will start to dream more and then they'll bring in the dream right away as a way to start talking. It's really fun, right? And then you're like, okay, dreams are wishes often. And if the next time you have a dream, you're everybody in your dream. Different parts of yourself show up as different people in the dream, or your relationship to that person shows up. So that's always fun too, to try to figure out like, why that one? Why now? Like a lot of this content is like from stuff that's going on in your life that day or whatever, but you can really piece a lot of it together with like risks and wishes and dreams and
gosh, maybe we should start like, writing down what our dreams are and then see if you can.
I had a wild one last night. I ain't gonna bring it up, but
if you want to call me,
definitely.
I'm happy to analyze that dream for you. Because it's really like dreams really give you a lot. It's stuff that's in your unconscious that wants to come out. And either you can't put it into words yet, or you don't know where to put it into words. I mean, it could be something that that you wouldn't say to anybody because it would ruin a relationship, right? But you still have the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I dream that Kelsey cheats on me all the time.
I do not. I do not, if anyone's wondering.
I know you don't.
But I do. I dream that, like, all the time.
Wishes and fears, two sides of the same coin.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Wishes and fears.
Well, I definitely don't wish that, so it has to be,
I hope you don't.
It's always something ridiculous,
No, but
too.
it's also like it would be the worst feeling. And so like if you dream it and then you talk about it,
Yeah.
and you don't create it, right? Like if you talked about all the time that you think she cheats on you, it would put a big like inside your relationship, right? Because it would feel shitty. And because Kelsey would be like every day, I'm not cheating on you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I wake up and I'm mad at her. She's like, oh, did I cheat on you again? I'm like,
in the dream?
Yeah.
Oh. And you're like, wait, did you? But like, if you are Kelsey in your dream, what are you cheating yourself out of?
right.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Mm-hmm.
So I have a off-topic question. So
Sure.
do you ever get clients that have no clue what
Patience. You call them patients,
patience?
You call them patients because you need a lot of it. No, go ahead.
right?
Do you ever get somebody who doesn't know like the name of the game, so you have to like coach them on how to like?
They don't know the name of the game at all.
Well, I wouldn't. I'd just be like, okay, talk to me.
Yeah, no, they come in and I mean, for most people, it's not like I'm a modern analyst. Like I'm not a Freudian traditional 4-day a week lie on the couch analyst. Because there's not enough, you can't be as animated as I am I could never do it. So sometimes people will want to sit up. Sometimes people want to sit in my chair. And then sometimes people will want to sit up. And I invite them to lie down. And then they're like, why would I do that? I'm like, well, why wouldn't you do that? And it goes back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, oh, maybe I'm not ready for that. And I'm like, okay, when you're ready. And they come in again and I invite them to lie down until eventually either they lie down or they don't, right? Like I can't force you to lie down. I'm not going to sit on you. But like,
That would
no.
be a different kind of therapy.
That would be a different kind of therapy. And I don't know if my license allows that. And then oftentimes I will say, depending on the patient and where they are, I'll say, well, as soon as you're ready to lie down, the work can get started. But right now we'll just keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Nice. That's a trick. That's a tricky little thing you've got up your sleeve there.
Yeah. And then hopefully the patient will lie down. And I think right now, I mean, I've encouraged the majority of my patients who are in New York to come back to lie down, to see me in the office. And then if I don't see you in the office, for the most part, I work with you on the phone. So you still can't see me.
Yeah.
It's really helpful. Like you should even try it if you have virtual patients, Kelsey.
Yeah. I can totally see that. I really can. I would prefer when I was in therapy and we were having internet issues and stuff with my therapist, we would speak on the phone and it was so much better for me. I didn't have to worry. I could just lay here. I didn't have to worry about, oh, like, do I look stupid right now? Or, it's just the performance. Like you feel like you have to perform to a certain degree. And I don't care what anyone says. You do.
I would probably do much better with an analyst because I am that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did I sound dumb? Did I do this?
How did I sound? Did I look okay today? Did I sound smart? Yeah.
But also it gives you the opportunity, like, have you ever gotten mad at your therapist?
No.
Well, there you go. So, but like in this format, right, in this modality, it does give you in the transference the opportunity to really discharge rage, which probably doesn't actually have anything to do with the analyst. However, you get to find it in a different way and know, like, I'm sitting behind you. Like, if you yell at me, I'm going to be okay. If we're like looking at each other and we're going toe to toe, then I'm going to have a hard time, not like, but if I'm back there and I match your rage with my voice, and we have a different experience. Think about it. Like, think about how many times you met your mother, and you discharged when you were 13 in a very interesting way that you don't do when you're in your 30s, but it's still in there. So this allows you the opportunity to really, like, you're not looking at the person, so you get to say it.
Yeah.
And you get to be frustrated, and you get to like find new language around that frustration. And there's a freedom in that. And then you go out in the world and you've like let go of that crap, and you let it out in the office, and you go out and you have more freedom and you have more thoughts.
That makes perfect sense. It's like that lady at the airport. This lady at the airport was mad because this couple with the baby cut line, I guess because they were going to miss their flight. This woman was
Very good.
turning around, and we were kind of back at a distance, like in these people's faces with her hands, like, and I told Kelsey, I said, if I was closer and that would have happened in my direction, we would have had some problems. Because she was like, right in your face. But now, if I was not immediately in her vicinity over where we were, it was a totally different experience.
Yeah.
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 I totally see where you're coming from there. I think that type of anger or rage or conflict or whatever with your therapist is also healthy because it mimics what happens in life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being able to like resolve a conflict and know your biggest unconscious fear, just a little FYI, for most people, assuming we're not talking about the actual hardcore borderline, is that you're going to destroy the other person with your rage, right? Like you could get so mad, you could destroy that person. Like you are that powerful. You're not, for the most part. If you know you can be that mad and not destroy the relationship and be able to like then have another whole set of feelings in that same 45 minutes, you're able to go out in the world and balance yourself out in a much more stable way.
100%.
Well, I think my relationship with my best friend, and I'm not saying it's the same thing because it's definitely not, but it makes sense why that modality of therapy works, because that's what I did with her all throughout my 20s, was talk about all the things that I had in my mind. And then after we got off the phone, I felt recharged. I was like, yeah, okay, this is great.
Right. On the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. No face-to-face.
I would die.
I mean, that's all I did in my 20s with my best friend. Like, if I was upset about something, I was calling her to, like, talk it through.
Maybe that's my problem, is I don't do that at all. I don't do that with anyone. Like, I don't call anyone and just vent or
talk about my feelings, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
Thoughts.
I have an appointment available. It's really helpful. It's for you, Casey, for writing. Imagine like if you could get some of like the clutter thoughts out of the way and you just let all that creative. I mean, Freud was like all about the creative. So like moving all that garbage around and like shaking it up so that you can just stimulate thoughts all the time.
Well, maybe when I start this next book, maybe that's what I need to do then, is just, because that's what I did with the first one or second one. I was in therapy through that whole book writing process, and that's exactly what happened. It shook it up, and it helped. Maybe I need to do that again.
But do it where you just talk about
your
thought.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not in the middle of any kind of major crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's just sort of like, there's free association. I'm trying to think, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't have anything to talk about anymore, but that's a lie. Like, as soon as you get there, you lie down. But also what would be interesting for you is in the silence, like what would keep you from talking?
To me, it always feels more overwhelming to talk about it than to keep it in. Like Kelsey will be like, so what did you do today? And if I've had a bad day, I'm like, not really anything. If I've had a good day, I can tell her the good things. But the bad things, and I don't know, maybe it does go back to childhood because that's all I ever remember is hearing my mom and my stepdad complain about their days every single day. And I came home and had to listen to it. And I just remember thinking, would you all shut up? Like, this is miserable.
Well, I have to say, I'm sure that Kelsey can handle you having a bad day.
Mm-hmm. She can.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really hard when I did go to therapy, though, honestly, for the first time, to find the language to describe the feelings, because they would ask me, like, well, how does that feel? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, how does that feel? I don't know.
Probably didn't know. And I think that the other, which is the right thing to say, it's also a wish not to know. And that could be the right thing too. Oftentimes in the different modalities that I don't work in, I'm not going to say negative things about them, but the different modalities that I don't work in, there is emphasis on the feeling, right? And that you are supposed to know when you come in about the feeling. So when I meet somebody for the first time, I imagine that they're an infant and that they will not have access to language for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I am not expecting anybody to tell me a feeling for at least 2 years. I mean, we're not even getting started for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of questions do you ask them?
I don't know. What'd you do today? What'd you have for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get their thoughts rolling.
Yeah. 5 or 6 object-oriented questions. I don't talk about feelings.
That was rough because I had 2 therapists, and one, she had a very eclectic type of practice. I don't even know how to explain it. The other one I went to because feelings were so difficult and uncomfortable for me that I purposely sought out an EFT clinician. And it was good, but it was very, very hard. And I felt like the therapy process went a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
Like the progress went a lot slower. But it was good, and it was good in a lot of ways because it helped me understand her more, because she is so emotional that so if nothing else, it was really good for me to have that kind of understanding of someone that does lead with emotion, and like how, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It just made my understanding a little bit better, but it was rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you introduce feeling words at the jump, it's real. People are like, what? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, the feelings are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need the content to understand, like to start to understand. And so you want to build the transference, because then the feelings are going to be in the transference. And the analyst is going to have the counter transference induction of your feelings too.
Mm. Well, and a lot of people, when you're in rage or you're angry or in conflict, you don't know your emotions, because I sure don't. I have to search for them. It's not easy.
And oftentimes it doesn't have anything to do with the person that you're mad at. You brought that old feeling into the relationship or whatever's happening, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
And it could be like, I don't know, someone forgot to pack you lunch, or you got the wrong lunch when you were in the 3rd grade and you're still holding on to it. Like, it doesn't have to be that traumatic all the time, but we do have like, and I use big T, little T trauma.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
I do it. I use it. So like, there's those little things that happen along the way, but you're never going to figure that out in 20 sessions. Like, that's a lifetime of figuring it out. And you might not know. And the other thing about long-term treatment, you get to really look at repetition compulsion. So no matter what, we're going to repeat. Like, we get up every morning, we brush our teeth the same way, whatever. We do it to survive so that we're not insane. But there are behaviors that we repeat, and we may move them into another behavior through a short-term treatment, but it's still being motivated. Like, it might not be a maladaptive behavior like the one we shifted, but it could just be a behavior that we put in place for like a neurosis that we could just work through.
Yeah.
So you get to see it in a much different way.
I learned a lot about my repeated behaviors throughout writing my book. Just as I was documenting and like really drawing out timelines from birth to adulthood. And, you know, I'd just know, like, I mean, it was clear when I had done something really stupid or, you know, whatever, but to see it all out there in one linear place And like, oh, every time something traumatic happens, I respond by doing this every single time.
And you're like, oh, here we are in chapter 8. Oh, wow, look at that. I got a pretty new dress on, but I'm doing the same freaking thing.
Did it again.
I spent a little bit more money on these shoes, but whoop, this behavior looks real similar.
Yep. And I honestly had never noticed it before. I never put 2 and 2 together. So, being
so your book is like you're observing ego.
Yeah. Have you listen? Are you on one of our street or our teams, our launch teams?
No, but it can be.
You need to be, because I have boxes of 500 books here that I'm sending out early to our teams, and I want you to read it and analyze it.
All right. And analyze it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I sometimes get invited to book clubs just for that reason.
Oh, well then, yeah.
I've had people have me read books. They're like, oh, will you read this one and come to our book club? I'm like, sure.
Well, if you do, and then maybe you could give me some ideas for the next book after reading it.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm emailing Emily right now.
But this has been so fun. I love this conversation, and it's not at all what I intended on talking to you about, but that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
All right. This was super fun.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Later, Back Porch Besties.
See you, everybody. If you're enjoying our podcast and would like to hear more from us, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts so we can keep making great content.
Talk to you later, besties.